In the markets of ancient Jerusalem, the Hospitallers began their secret legacy.
A lone figure strides through the bustling streets of Jerusalem. The year is 1095. The air is thick with tension as languages and faiths collide. In a humble hospice, a brotherhood is born, destined to alter the course of history. This is the genesis of the Knights Hospitaller, a tale of healing, warfare, and secrets. In the shadows of history, the Knights Hospitaller carved a legacy both noble and enigmatic. They were healers who became warriors, protectors who guarded not just lives but secrets. As we journey through their story, we uncover a hidden world of cryptic manuscripts and relics, revealing a side of the Crusades rarely seen. What mysteries did they protect, and how did they shape the course of history? Our story begins in Jerusalem, against the backdrop of the First Crusade. This is a city of contrasts, where faith fuels both hope and conflict. The Knights Hospitaller emerge, first as humble healers, then as formidable protectors. Their transformation from caregivers to warriors reflects the turbulent times as they balance mercy with might. Join us as we explore their journey through a world on the cusp of change. In the heart of Jerusalem, where the air was perfumed with incense and the clamor of eager voices, a small band of men and women found their purpose. It was the year 1023, and the city was a mosaic of cultures and faiths, a place where the sun cast long shadows over ancient stones, and the call to prayer mingled with the distant echo of church bells. Amidst this tapestry, an order was quietly born, not of knights in shining armor, but of humble servants tending to the weary and the sick. These were the Hospitallers, named after their modest beginnings at the Hospital of St. John, nestled in the bustling heart of Jerusalem. The hospital was a sanctuary, its walls offering respite to pilgrims who arrived, footsore and weary, from distant lands. Under the guidance of Blessed Gerard, the founder whose vision would guide them for centuries, they administered care with gentle hands and whispered prayers, their white robes a symbol of purity and dedication. Imagine the scene. The soft rush of water as attendants washed the travel-worn feet of pilgrims, the soothing scent of herbs wafting through the wards, the gentle murmur of Latin prayers drifting like a balm over troubled souls. These healers worked not for glory or riches, but for the quiet satisfaction of service, their mission clear in every act of compassion. As the Crusades loomed on the horizon, the Hospitallers' role began to shift. What started as a haven of healing would soon transform into a bastion of defense. Their story was just beginning, a tale that would weave through the very fabric of Jerusalem, a city poised on the brink of faith and conflict. And thus, the humble origins of the Hospitallers paved the way for a legacy that would endure the test of time. In the heart of Jerusalem, a city vibrating with the fervor of faith, the Hospitallers found themselves amidst an atmosphere as turbulent as it was sacred. It was the year 1099, and the First Crusade had just drawn to a close, leaving behind both the triumph of conquest and the chaos of conflict. The air was heavy with the aroma of incense from countless altars mingling with the pungent scent of the marketplace, where traders haggled over spices and silk. Streets echoed with the clatter of hooves against cobblestones and the murmur of prayers whispered in myriad tongues. The Hospitallers, bearing the white cross on their tunics, navigated this complex tapestry of cultures and creeds. Their mission was clear, yet fraught with challenges. They were healers, established to care for the sick and weary pilgrims who arrived battered from their journeys. Yet, in this city of faith, swords were as common as scripture and the threat of violence loomed large amid the sacred relics and holy shrines. In these narrow, winding streets, the Hospitallers also faced the delicate task of maintaining their neutrality amidst the simmering tensions between different faiths and factions. Their commitment was to provide sanctuary to all, regardless of creed, a principle that was as much a test of diplomacy as it was of compassion. John of Brienne, a name whispered with respect, was among those who would guide the order through these precarious times, his leadership a beacon in the storm of Crusader politics. And so, the Hospitallers stood as guardians, not only of the body's health, but of the city's fragile peace. As the sun set over Jerusalem, casting long shadows that danced upon the ancient stones, they prepared for the next chapter of their journey. A journey that would see them as healers in a land scarred by war. In the bustling heart of Jerusalem, the year 1099 saw the streets alive with the aroma of spice-laden markets and the distant echoes of church bells. It was here that the Knights Hospitaller first took root, under the guidance of their founder, Blessed Gerard. Amidst the turmoil of the Crusades, they crafted a sanctuary in the shadow of the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Imagine the gentle rustle of their robes and the soft chants that drifted through their halls, a stark contrast to the clamor of warfare just beyond their walls. These healers wore the symbol of the white cross upon their chests, a beacon of hope in a land ravaged by conflict. They tended to the weary pilgrims and the wounded crusaders alike, their hands moving with practiced care over linen bandages and herbal poultices. The scent of rosemary and thyme filled the air, mingling with the cool, musty smell of stone corridors. Yet, as the years unfolded, the Hospitallers found themselves drawn deeper into the maelstrom of battle. By 1113, Pope Paschal II had formally recognized the order, and with this newfound legitimacy came responsibilities that required them to wield swords as well as salves. Their mission expanded beyond the gentle art of healing, evolving into the defense of the pilgrims they served. The sound of clashing steel began to echo within their walls, harmonizing with the prayers offered in their chapels. As the sun set over the hills of Jerusalem, casting long shadows on the ancient stones, the Hospitallers stood at a crossroads. They were no longer simply healers. They had become warriors driven by necessity. And so, the white cross on their chests took on a new meaning, one that would soon reveal the profound transformation of their order. In the next chapter, we explore how this emblem would come to represent both mercy and might, a symbol of their dual legacy. In the heart of Jerusalem, amidst the swirling sands and fervent prayers of 1099, the Knights Hospitaller carved out their identity. The air was heavy with the scent of incense, a blend of myrrh and frankincense, wafting through the narrow stone alleyways of the ancient city. These knights, far from the tales of chivalry and honor usually associated with their brethren, bore a symbol that captured their complex nature, a white cross on a black field. This emblem, simple yet profound, spoke volumes of their dual existence. The stark white cross declared their role as healers, a beacon of hope for the weary pilgrims who traversed perilous paths to the Holy Land. Each intersection of the cross represented the corners of the world where they extended their mercy and care, where the gentle touch of their hands met the fevered brows of the ailing. But the black backdrop bore witness to another facet, one of shadows and secrets, of swords drawn in silence. It was as if the very fabric of their banner absorbed the whispers of the night, where plans were laid and alliances forged under the cloak of darkness. The emblem became more than a mere identifier. It was a testament to their adaptability and resilience. In the time-worn halls of their fortresses, the echoes of whispered vows and clashing swords lingered. The white cross and the black field were intertwined in their very essence, shaping a legacy that would endure through centuries, transcending the fall of kingdoms and the ebb of empires. As the moon cast a silvery glow over their strongholds, one could sense the presence of stories untold, secrets guarded fiercely by the very symbol they bore. And so, into the night, their legacy continued, guiding us gently toward the whisper of secrets yet to unfold. The air within the stone walls of the Hospitallers' strongholds was cool and still, as though it held its breath, guarding the secrets whispered over centuries. These were not mere fortresses, but sanctuaries of knowledge, where the scent of ancient parchment mingled with the faint tang of iron from the armory. The Hospitallers, known formally as the Knights of the Order of St. John, were born in the heat of the Crusades, yet they thrived in the shadows, far from the clamor of battle. In the heart of Jerusalem, their first hospital was more than a place of healing, it was a hub of intelligence. Here, under flickering candlelight, monks turned warriors pored over manuscripts written in codes that only a few could decipher. These texts held not just medical knowledge, but secrets of diplomacy and politics, threads in the intricate tapestry of medieval power. Within their archives, whispers of alliances and rivalries were preserved, woven into the fabric of Europe's tumultuous history. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the stone floors, the knights gathered in hidden chambers. The scent of incense hung in the air, mingling with the hushed tones of strategy and secrecy. They were not just healers, they were keepers of mysteries, protectors of relics that spoke of an older world. Their network stretched beyond the walls of Jerusalem, reaching into the winding streets of Rhodes and later Malta, where their presence became monumental. Here, the Mediterranean breeze carried tales of their exploits, and the sound of waves against the rocky shores seemed to echo their enduring vigilance. And so, the Hospitallers' legacy continued, a testament to the power of secrets kept and stories untold. As we venture further, we unravel a rivalry forged in fire, where shadows of the past dance in the firelight. In the heart of the medieval world, two orders emerged from the crucible of the Crusades, each bearing a cross on their chests, each with a mission that intertwined the sacred and the martial. The Knights Hospitaller, with their black robes emblazoned with a white cross, were known for their healing touch and fierce defense of the faith. Yet, beside them stood another order, the Knights Templar, clad in white cloaks with a red cross, renowned for their military might and enigmatic rituals. In the narrow, winding streets of Jerusalem, where the scent of frankincense mingled with the dust of ancient stones, their rivalry simmered beneath the surface. By the year 1136, both orders had established formidable presences in the Holy Land. The Hospitallers managed the Hospital of St. John, a sanctuary for weary pilgrims, while the Templars transformed the Al-Aqsa Mosque into their headquarters, a fortress of secrecy and power. The air was often tense between them, like the charged silence before a storm. Whispers of espionage and competition filled the corridors of their fortresses as each order sought relics and influence. The Hospitallers, with their network of spies and healers, were ever watchful, while the Templars guarded their financial empire with an iron grip. Yet, it was not just rivalry that defined them, but a grudging respect, as both orders understood the weight of their shared purpose. In battles, they often fought side by side, their banners flying together under the harsh sun of the Levant. As the years passed, their fates diverged, yet their stories remained entwined. With the rise of empires and the shifting sands of power, the legacy of their rivalry would echo through time, shaping the world in ways both seen and unseen. Now, as we turn the page, we explore the rise of an empire, where these echoes continue to resonate. In the bustling heart of Jerusalem, the year 1099 saw the city not only as a battleground, but as a tapestry woven with the lives of countless souls seeking solace or salvation. The streets vibrated with the clamor of languages from across Christendom, mingling with the scents of spices and incense. It was here that the Hospitallers began their humble journey, tending to weary pilgrims in a modest hospice near the Church of the Holy Sepulchre. Their symbol, a simple white 8-pointed cross, came to represent hope in a land fraught with conflict. As the years unfurled, the Hospitallers expanded beyond the walls of their first sanctuary. By 1113, Pope Paschal II formally recognized their order, granting them the authority to operate independently, a pivotal moment that marked the dawn of their transformation from caregivers to a formidable military power. Across the Mediterranean, their influence spread like ripples in water, establishing a network of commanderies, each a sanctuary and a sentinel. From Acre to Rhodes, they fortified their presence, their fortresses rising like sentinels against the horizon. The knights grew adept not only in the art of healing, but also in the craft of war. Armor clanged and horses snorted as they rode out, their reputation as warrior monks solidifying with each campaign. The scent of leather and metal accompanied them, a testament to their dual identity. Meanwhile, amidst the murmur of prayers and the rustle of parchment, they amassed wealth and knowledge, safeguarding ancient texts and relics within their walls. And so, the Hospitallers built an empire, an intricate web of power and secrecy. As their influence swelled, they became guardians of more than just the ill. Their legacy, both seen and hidden, beckons us forward into the realm of knowledge they fiercely protected. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow over the city of Jerusalem, the Knights Hospitaller gathered in the dimly lit halls of their ancient stronghold. The air was a blend of incense and parchment, a testament to their dual roles as both healers and custodians of wisdom. Founded in the year 1099, not long after the first Crusaders had carved their path to the Holy City, the Knights were entrusted with a mission that went beyond the battlefield. They were the keepers of knowledge, safeguarding ancient manuscripts and relics that whispered secrets of civilizations long past. In their vaults, beneath layers of stone cooled by history's breath, lay scrolls and codices from Greece, Rome, and the distant East. These were not merely dusty tomes. They were the living memories of human thought, preserved with meticulous care. The rustle of parchment was a familiar sound in these shadowed chambers, as was the quiet murmur of scholars who had journeyed from distant lands to study the secrets held within. The knights understood the power of such knowledge. They knew that in a world where empires rose and fell like tides, the written word was a fortress more enduring than any stone wall. And so, they guarded these treasures fiercely, even as they tended to the weary pilgrims who sought refuge within their walls. Yet, these guardians were not merely passive keepers. They actively sought out new wisdom, sending emissaries far and wide to collect texts and relics, sometimes hidden within the folds of traders' robes or tucked beneath saddles. The stories they preserved would become the bedrock of European thought for centuries to come. As we leave the halls of the Hospitallers, let us turn our gaze to the symbols they etched in stone, a silent language of their enduring legacy. Imagine the sun setting behind the crenellated walls of Rhodes, casting long shadows over its cobbled streets. This island fortress, once ruled by the Knights Hospitaller, holds secrets etched in its stones. As night descends, picture yourself wandering through the silent corridors of their chapels, where flickering torchlight reveals ancient carvings. These symbols, seemingly simple at first glance, are a cipher for those attuned to their meanings. The Hospitallers were not merely warriors. They were keepers of a complex language, inscribed on the very fabric of their fortresses. Their emblem, the white eight-pointed cross, stood for both their vows and their mysteries. But beyond this symbol, intricate patterns emerge. On the walls of the chapel in Burgu, Malta, the stone tells tales of battles fought and oaths sworn, yet also of the stars above and the heavens they aspired to reach. Imagine running your hand over the cool, weathered stone, feeling the grooves where chisels once carved messages intended for eternity. Each symbol was a piece of the puzzle, a fragment of a greater narrative hidden in plain sight. In the glow of candlelight, these carvings would have seemed almost alive, whispering stories of ancient wisdom and sacred duty. And so we find ourselves asking, what messages were hidden here in these enduring symbols? Each mark had a purpose, whether to guide the initiated or to guard against prying eyes. The knights crafted their fortresses as much with secrecy as with stone, leaving behind a legacy of silent sentinels. As we ponder these mysteries, let us journey onward to discover the code that governed their lives, a code that was as much philosophical as it was martial. The code of the knights awaits, whispering its truths through the ages. In the heart of Jerusalem, where the air carried the mingled scents of incense and dust, the Knights Hospitaller lived by a code as unwavering as the stone walls of their fortresses. It was a life bound by vows, where each knight pledged to poverty, chastity, and obedience. These oaths carved a path through their days, guiding them with the precision of a compass. Imagine the soft rustle of their robes as they moved through the dim corridors of their commanderies, the flickering torchlight casting shadows of the cross they bore. Founded in 1113, the Order of the Hospital of St. John of Jerusalem was not merely a brotherhood of arms, but a sanctuary of healing. Within the bustling city, their hospitals were places of refuge where the sick and weary found solace. The murmur of prayers was a constant hymn, blending with the distant calls of vendors and the clatter of hooves on cobblestones. Here, the knights practiced their dual vocation, tending to the body and defending the faith. The rule of Raymond, established around 1206, set forth the principles that would steer the order for centuries. Imagine the weight of the document, its parchment pages worn by time, yet its words as sharp as the swords the knights carried. It spoke of humility and discipline, of service to the sick and protection of the pilgrims. And beneath it all, an undercurrent of secrecy ran, as the knights navigated a world where faith and power often collided. As the sun set on Jerusalem, the knights turned their eyes to the horizon, ever vigilant. In this delicate dance of duty and devotion, they honed strategies that would soon echo through the annals of history, leading us into their role as masters of strategy. Beneath the sweltering sun of the Levant, a land where the scent of frankincense mingled with the dust-laden air, the Knights Hospitaller unfurled their banners. These were not mere warriors clad in armor. They were architects of influence, crafting a legacy that would endure long after their swords had rusted. The year was 1113 when Pope Paschal II formally recognized them, granting them autonomy that allowed their strategic minds to flourish. They were the guardians of secrets and the stewards of both faith and power. The Hospitallers wielded not just blades, but also an astute understanding of alliances and diplomacy. In the bustling streets of Jerusalem, they forged links with merchants and monarchs alike. The clangor of trade filled the air as deals were whispered, their echoes lingering like an unseen mist. Silent agreements, sealed with handshakes rather than seals, ensured the flow of resources and information a lifeline that sustained their mission. Their fortresses, like the imposing Crac des Chevaliers, stood as bastions of both stone and cunning. The walls, cool to the touch and weathered by time, were more than mere defenses. They were the stage for a grand chess game, where the Hospitallers moved their pieces with calculated precision. In their halls, the flickering light of torches danced upon the walls, illuminating maps that charted not just lands but the course of history itself. And so, as the cool night descended upon the desert, the Knights Hospitaller continued their vigil. Their strategies, woven as delicately as the finest silk, allowed them to navigate the tides of power with steady hands. Next, we shall explore how these masters of strategy became the guardians of pilgrims, their care extending beyond battlefields to the very souls they swore to protect. In the quiet dawn of 1100, the streets of Jerusalem teemed with life and anticipation. Pilgrims from across the vast expanse of Europe arrived, their hearts set on the sacred sites of the Holy City. The sun cast its first golden rays over the stone walls, illuminating the faces of these weary travelers. The air was rich with the scent of spices from the bustling markets, mingling with the incense that drifted lazily from nearby chapels. For these pilgrims, the journey was perilous, fraught with bandits and the harshness of the land. Yet they were not alone. The Knights Hospitaller, known widely for their unwavering dedication, became the guardians of these faithful souls. Established in the heart of Jerusalem, their mission extended beyond mere military might. They offered solace and shelter within their fortified compounds, where the echo of their footsteps on the cool stone floors reassured those seeking refuge. The gentle murmur of their prayers blended with the distant calls of merchants and the rustling leaves of olive trees. The Hospitallers, clad in their distinctive black robes adorned with the white cross, were more than healers. They were strategists, ever vigilant against threats lurking in the shadows. Their watchful eyes scanned the horizon from atop stone towers, ensuring safe passage for those who sought the divine. Their presence was a beacon of hope, a silent promise of protection. As night fell over Jerusalem, the sky deepened to a velvety indigo, dotted with stars. The city, cloaked in a serene hush, stood as a testament to the resilience of faith. And so the Hospitallers' legacy as guardians unfolded, preparing to guide their charges into the next chapter, a fortress of faith standing against the tides of time. In the heart of the Mediterranean, the island of Malta stood as an unwavering sentinel, its shores kissed by the gentle waves of a sapphire sea. It was here, in the year 1530, that the Knights Hospitaller found refuge after their expulsion from Rhodes. Their fortress was not merely a stronghold of stone and mortar, it was a bastion of faith and secrecy. As the sun rose over the honey-colored limestone walls, the air was filled with the scent of salt mingling with the fragrant herbs that grew wild across the island. The fortress, known as Fort St. Angelo, was an architectural marvel, a testament to the ingenuity and resilience of its creators. Its thick walls, built to withstand the fiercest of sieges, bore the scars of countless battles. Within its confines, chapel bells tolled softly, their echoes a reminder of the divine mission that guided the knights. The corridors were lined with tapestries depicting scenes of valor and devotion, illuminated by the flickering glow of candlelight. The fortress was more than a physical barrier. It was a sanctuary for those who sought peace and protection. Pilgrims weary from their journeys found solace within its walls, their prayers mingling with the whispered secrets of the knights. The Hospitallers, clad in their distinctive black robes emblazoned with the white cross, moved with quiet purpose, their footsteps a steady rhythm on the stone floors. Yet, beneath this facade of tranquility lay a network of tunnels and vaults, where treasures and relics were hidden away from prying eyes. Here, the past was preserved, waiting to be unearthed by those who dared to seek it. And as the fortress stood firm against the passage of time, the distant sound of battle drums began to echo, a reminder of the challenges yet to come. The air was dense with tension and the smell of sweat and steel as the Knights Hospitaller prepared for the clash that would soon envelop them. The year was 1291, and the city of Acre, their last bastion in the Holy Land, lay under siege. The sun hung low, casting long shadows over the parapets, where the knights stood steadfast, their armor gleaming in the fading light. The sound of clashing weapons and shouts of warriors reverberated through the air, a symphony of chaos and courage. In those moments, the Hospitallers revealed their dual nature as both healers and warriors. Beneath the white cross, emblazoned on their tunics, they carried not only swords, but also a deep sense of purpose. These men, who in quieter times tended to the sick and weary, now stood shoulder to shoulder, defending their sacred ground with fierce determination. The clang of metal against metal was matched by the fervent prayers murmured under their breath, a plea for strength and protection. As the battle raged, the knights moved with practiced precision, their movements a testament to years of training and discipline. The scent of the sea mingled with the acrid smoke of siege engines, a reminder of the strategic location they fought so desperately to hold. The city walls, once a symbol of safety and refuge, now bore the scars of relentless assault. With each passing hour, the Hospitallers' resolve was tested, but their spirit remained unbroken. They fought not just for territory, but for the ideals they swore to uphold. And as the echoes of battle began to fade with the setting sun, the knights turned their thoughts to the future, to the intricate web of alliances and influence they would continue to weave. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm amber glow over the ancient walls of Jerusalem, the air was filled with the scent of spices and the distant murmur of chanting monks. Here, in this cradle of faith and conflict, the Knights Hospitaller wove a tapestry of influence that extended far beyond the dusty streets. Their order, born amidst the tumult of the Crusades, was not merely a force of arms, but a network of alliances that spanned the known world. Imagine a knight in his simple, dark mantle, marked with the emblematic white cross, moving with purpose through a bustling marketplace. The clamor of traders hawking their wares mingled with the soft cooing of doves nestled atop the nearby church. In the heart of this vibrant chaos, deals were struck and secrets exchanged, not just in words, but in subtle nods and fleeting glances. The Hospitallers were masters of diplomacy, their influence stretching from the sunlit shores of the Mediterranean to the misty isles of Britain. They forged bonds with powerful merchant families in Venice and Genoa, whose ships transported not only goods, but crucial intelligence. In the candlelit chambers of their fortresses, these knights met with envoys from distant lands, their conversations veiled in the gentle rustle of parchment and the flickering shadows cast by wavering torchlight. In the quiet of night, when the city rested, their messengers would slip through the gates, carrying coded messages concealed in seemingly innocuous letters. These missives, written in intricate cipher, were the lifeblood of their network, ensuring that even the most distant outpost remained connected to the heart of the order. And so, as the stars emerged one by one, the Hospitallers' web of influence continued to grow, a hidden force that would remain vital for centuries. Next, we delve into the mysterious language of ciphers, the key to their enduring legacy. Within the dimly lit chambers of the Knights Hospitaller, the air carried the scent of ancient parchment mingled with the cool stone walls that had borne witness to centuries of whispered secrets. Here, in the shadows of history, the art of ciphers flourished, weaving a tapestry of mystery and intrigue that would endure long after the clattering hooves of crusaders had faded into silence. The Hospitallers, known for their healing hands and martial prowess, also held the keys to a different kind of power, the coded language that safeguarded their most precious secrets. One could imagine a Hospitaller scribe, hunched over a desk, quill in hand, the flickering candle casting a wavering glow upon the vellum. The ink flowed in intricate patterns, each stroke a deliberate concealment of knowledge intended only for those who could break the code. In the year 1310, as the order settled in Malta, this language of symbols became their shield against both rivals and time. The island's salty breeze carried whispers of these hidden messages, echoing through the stone corridors and into the Mediterranean night. Ciphers took many forms, from simple substitution codes to more complex polyalphabetic systems. These cryptic techniques were not just tools for communication, but were also woven into the architecture of their sanctuaries. Symbols carved into the chapel walls in Valletta spoke to those who knew their language, a silent dialogue between stone and soul. As the years passed, these encrypted manuscripts became more than mere words. They were the threads connecting the order's past to its present. And as the Hospitallers' influence grew, so did the mystery surrounding their coded writings, a mystery that remains unsolved even today. Now, we turn our gaze to the enigmatic shadow of the Templars, whose legacy intertwines with that of the Hospitallers, revealing secrets hidden beneath the surface. In the winding streets of Jerusalem, where the scent of incense mingled with the dust of ancient stones, a quiet tension brewed between two formidable orders. The Knights Templar, clad in their striking white mantles adorned with the Red Cross, were warriors of faith and finance, their influence stretching across continents. Yet, in the same city, the Knights Hospitaller, with their black robes marked by a white cross, stood as both healers and guardians, tending to the endless stream of weary pilgrims. The year was 1147, a time when the air buzzed with the fervor of the Second Crusade. The rivalry between these orders was not one of open conflict, but rather a subtle dance of power and purpose. The Templars, known for their martial prowess, had gained immense wealth and sway, their coffers filled with the treasures of both battlefield and banking. Meanwhile, the Hospitallers, originally founded to provide care, had evolved into a military force in their own right, with fortresses dotting the landscape from Jerusalem to Rhodes. In these years, whispers of the Hospitallers' covert operations began to circulate. It was said that beneath the quiet cloisters and humble chapels, they harbored secrets as deep as any Templar vault. Their spies moved silently through markets and courts, gathering intelligence that would keep them a step ahead of their rivals. And so, while the Templars' influence waned with the tides of political change, the Hospitallers adapted, their legacy resilient and enduring. As the sun set over the holy city, casting long shadows across the limestone, the rivalry between these orders remained etched in the stones, a silent testament to their intertwined destinies. And so, we turn our attention to the enduring marks they left, carved in stone and memory, as we explore their hidden legacy. In the quiet heart of Valletta, the capital of Malta, the echoes of the Knights' Hospital linger in the air like a forgotten song. As you wander through the narrow cobblestone streets, the scent of the Mediterranean Sea mingles with the warm, earthy aroma of ancient stone. Here, the legacy of the Knights is etched not just in the architecture, but in the very spirit of the city. The imposing fortifications, with their sun-drenched walls, whisper tales of resilience and secrecy. It was on this island that the Knights found refuge after losing Rhodes in 1522, and here they carved their indelible mark upon history. Within the shadowy recesses of St. John's Co-Cathedral, where light filters through stained glass to dance upon the marble floor, lies a silent testament to their wealth and power. The cathedral itself, a masterpiece of Baroque art, is adorned with intricate carvings and gilded details that tell stories of battles and devotion. The floor is a mosaic of tombstones, beneath which rest the knights who once walked these hallowed halls. Among them, Grand Master Jean de la Valette, whose leadership during the Great Siege of 1565 became the stuff of legend. Yet, the Knights' true legacy stretches far beyond Malta's shores. Their influence is woven into the fabric of European history, from the cryptic symbols that still adorn ancient chapels to the silent corridors of power they navigated with unparalleled skill. Imagine the quiet rustle of parchment as secrets were inked in cipher, and the gentle clink of coins as alliances were forged. These are the echoes of a legacy that refused to fade, even as empires crumbled and the world turned. As we delve deeper into their story, we uncover the ripples of their fall and the profound aftermath that reshaped the course of history. In the quiet alleys of Valletta, the Maltese capital, whispers of the past linger like the scent of salt on the sea breeze. By the late 18th century, the Knights Hospitaller, once formidable in their white cross insignia, faced the twilight of their influence. Their decline was as inevitable as the setting sun, a slow unraveling spun from threads of politics, war, and change. The year was 1798, and it was Napoleon Bonaparte who cast the final stone. Sailing into the Grand Harbor with a fleet of ships, he demanded the order yield Malta to his advancing forces. The fortresses that had withstood sieges now stood silent, their walls echoing with the distant clamor of retreating footsteps. Under the relentless Mediterranean sun, the knights, led by Grand Master Ferdinand von Hompesch, capitulated almost without a fight. Their treasures, relics of a storied past, were packed away with a sigh that seemed to ripple through the very stones of the city. And so, the order departed, their archives sealed like whispered secrets within wooden chests. They scattered across Europe, each member clutching pieces of a history too profound to be forgotten. In the shaded halls of Rome and the bustling streets of Paris, they lingered like shadows, relics of an era that had slipped into memory. Yet, their influence was not entirely extinguished. Like the faintest echo of a bell tolling in the night, their legacy continued to resonate. Buildings they once erected still stood, and the symbols they carved remained etched into the very fabric of cities. As we turn the page to the echoes of their past, we find a world still touched by their silent presence, a testament to the enduring spirit of the Knights Hospitaller. As the sun dips below the horizon, casting a golden glow over the ancient stones of Valletta, the whispers of the past seem to grow louder. Here in Malta, the Knights Hospitaller found their final stronghold, a bastion from which they would cast their enduring shadow across history. The air is thick with the scent of salt from the sea, mingling with the earthy aroma of the weathered limestone walls that have stood witness to centuries of secrets. These knights, once hailed as healers and guardians, wove a tapestry of mystery and power that stretched far beyond the battlefield. Imagine the quiet halls of their fortresses, where flickering candlelight danced upon manuscripts filled with cryptic symbols, and where shadows seemed to move with a life of their own. The soft rustle of parchment and the distant echo of footsteps were the only sounds that disturbed the silence of these sacred spaces. In those same halls, their legacy was meticulously preserved. The Knights Hospitaller were not just warriors, they were keepers of knowledge, protectors of relics, and builders of networks that defied the passing of time. Their influence extended into the very fabric of European history, leaving behind a legacy intertwined with myths and half-forgotten truths. And so, as we stand on the precipice of understanding, we are left to ponder how their stories resonate today. The echoes of their order continue to ripple through time, shaping the world in ways both seen and unseen. What truths do these echoes hold? What secrets do they guard still? As we turn our gaze to the remnants of their once great order, we find ourselves drawn into the mysteries they left behind, eager to discover the secrets they carried with them through the ages. In the quiet halls of history, the Knights Hospital are often overshadowed by their more famous counterparts, the Templars. Yet, their legacy whispers through the corridors of time, leaving us with tantalizing mysteries. Imagine the streets of Malta, where the scent of the sea mingles with the ancient stone walls that once housed these enigmatic knights. Here, in the Mediterranean light, their secrets beckon. The Knights Hospital, known for their healing touch, held knowledge not easily deciphered. Manuscripts written in ciphers lay hidden away, their meanings locked within a web of symbols and codes. They were guardians not just of bodies, but of arcane wisdom, relics, and bloodlines preserved in the shadows. These knights carved symbols into chapels, leaving messages too dangerous for the pulpit. In the soft candlelight of these sacred spaces, one might sense the weight of secrets kept. As the world around them shifted, the Knights Hospital moved silently, their archives always in tow. They were not just defenders of fortresses, but of memories, stories, and truths that could alter the course of history. When empires rose and fell, the knights stood watch, their influence stretching beyond the battlefield into the realms of espionage and finance. Even today, echoes of their presence linger. In the bustling streets of Jerusalem, where once the air was thick with dust and prayer, their legacy remains, woven into the very fabric of the city. The mysteries they left behind challenge us to ponder. What hidden legacies lie beneath our feet, waiting to be uncovered? As we move forward, these shadows of the past invite us to explore a world shaped by unseen hands, a world where every stone might conceal a story, every whisper a revelation. In the quietude of a moonlit night, the enduring influence of the Knights Hospitaller weaves through the very fabric of our world, like a whisper carried on a gentle breeze. Their legacy, much like the stones of Malta, is etched with tales of courage and secrecy. In those same cobblestone streets, where echoes of their footsteps linger, the air is infused with the briny scent of the sea, mingling with the faint aroma of olive trees under the Mediterranean sun. As guardians, they did more than protect pilgrims and tend to the ailing. They shaped a network of influence, a web spun from the threads of diplomacy and espionage. Imagine the sound of a quill scratching on parchment as cryptic messages were penned, destined for eyes that could unravel their hidden meanings. These were the whispers that orchestrated alliances, outmaneuvered adversaries, and preserved secrets far beyond the reach of time. Their presence stretched invisibly across Europe, leaving marks in the form of symbols carved into the stone walls of chapels and fortresses. These symbols, silent yet eloquent, spoke of a legacy wrapped in mystery, the black cross standing stark against the white robes of their order, a testament to their dual nature as healers and warriors. And so, as the sun sets over the ancient battlements, casting long shadows that merge with the night, we find ourselves pondering their true impact. The stories of the Hospitallers are not merely relics of the past, but living echoes that resonate in our present. They remind us that history is not just written in grand chronicles, but whispered through the ages, urging us to uncover the truths hidden in plain sight. And thus, as we close this journey, the shadows of their legacy linger, inviting us to reflect on the unseen forces that continue to shape our world. Today, the echoes of the Hospitallers linger in the quiet corners of Europe and the Middle East. Their fortresses stand as silent witnesses to a time of faith and conflict. The secrets they guarded may never be fully known, but their legacy endures. As you drift into sleep, imagine the whispers of history and the guardians who once walked these ancient paths. Good night,